props? Is this what... Or are we missing a key component of the podcast?
There we go. That's an excellent costume.
Thank you very much. It is a wizard's hat and my normal clothes. A wizard. James,
wizard.
where is your costume?
I've come in secret as your greatest fear.
My greatest fear? A burglar.
Or a French person.
A French burglar.
Any French people in today? Few.
I'm not afraid of French people. I don't know what I've said that's given the impression that I fear the French.
You just dislike them. No, this is really the wrong.
It's a really
foot to
weird,
get off.
really weird start. Can I take this hat off?
Yeah.
Okay. Mischief managed. Right. This is as always. This has started catastrophically.
Yes. Yes. Welcome.
And it's partly my fault and it's partly your fault. And it's really, I think a lot of the blame rests with the audience.
Definitely. There's more of them than us. So
yeah.
It has to be.
So it's an even split. A round of applause, please, for us. It's the start of the show. Hooray! And as always, when we do these things, we always put them out on Twitter or what have you, and we say in the podcast, and then we're always delighted and surprised that anybody turns up at all. And then we get on stage, and then you look at us like you have no idea what's happening. Like you don't know who we are, you don't know what the podcast is.
Does anyone listen to the podcast here? Oh, thank goodness.
Has anyone here not heard the podcast?
Oh, well
It was what do you think's happening then here? Great answer.
Is that to us for us bothering to come and say why not bother?
Why not?
Why not?
Just two guys. I just saw a chair. I sat in it, and then two men started passive aggressively criticising me for not understanding the context.
Well, welcome, happy Halloween, everybody. Merry Samhain. I don't know how you say it. Salmon. Merry salmon.
Samhain. Isn't it Samhain? It's a W, isn't it?
I don't know. I've established I don't know how to say it by saying salmon.
Samhain.
Samhain. Hello, everybody.
Just doing an aside to the live stream people there to be like, you got it wrong.
I'm also doing an aside to say, I got it wrong. I got it wrong again. Welcome to our Halloween show. Has everybody had a wonderful Halloween so far? It's been nice and scary. Standard, sort of a normal day, really. It was Monday, though, which is one of the scariest days of the week,
Yep.
I find. Welcome. We've got a terrifying tale for you today. Are you ready to be terrified?
I don't think they are ready to be terrified. They look like their mental reserves are solid.
Oh, I need to put my skull as
the skull is. This is why they aren't terrified, because our terrifying skull is not in position.
How's this? Yeah.
There you go. That's what was
That's
missing.
what I like
The skull was the problem.
Well, fun fact. We're going to be talking about skulls today. Everyone's got one. Right.
That's the slogan for skulls, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone's got one. For the sake of the three people who have come here by accident, shall we explain what Loremen is?
Yes. It's a podcast about local legends and obscure curiosities from days of yore. I'm James Shakeshaft.
I nearly said I'm James Shakeshaft. I was waiting for my moment to jump in, and I nearly jumped in. I'm also James Shakeshaft. Spooky Halloween. But I'm also Alistair Beckett King.
As well.
I'm like two guys. That's the twist.
Oh, he's got my face on the back of his head.
Yeah.
It's covered with all the hair. Like all the hair as well.
I'm on the back of his head. What's that? That's the sound of a little giant on the back of my head.
A little giant.
I'm covered with hair. A very small giant. Yeah.
Standard size person, yes. I'm sorry my costume's not better. I did try and source a Mr. Blobby outfit. Ideally, I wanted to get like a suit, but in the Blobby material. Like a proper three-piecer, but they are very difficult to Google. If you Google Mr. Blobby suit, you get Mr. Blobby suits. You don't get a three-piece, unsurprisingly.
Weird that people don't want to wear Mr. Blobby outfits to fancy dinners and weddings and things. Odd that isn't available. Come on, capitalism.
Unbelievable. But no, and then a full-size blobby outfit would just be too harrowing, I think, for everyone here.
Wouldn't it be good in the last episode of, like, Noel's house party if they opened Blobby and there was nothing in it? Like, the whole time there'd been nothing in there.
Just more blobby. Just
Like,
another smaller blobby.
A matryoshka blobby.
Yeah.
There's another little blobby in there.
Just blobbies all the way down.
Blobception. No, it's a risk bringing up Christopher Nolan around James.
Yes.
That could really affect the structure of this episode.
I will start telling this in backwards. Or just boring.
Yeah.
And I'm very muffled, so I can't really understand. You have to watch it again with subtitles.
How did the bullet get in the wall to be sucked out into the gun? I don't understand, and I stopped watching.
Yes.
How did it get in the wall?
When the people were building the wall,
How did it get in the
did
wall?
they not go, why is there a bullet in this wall? This
Yeah.
is a bad wall.
But
You
when
made
is
a
it?
bad wall.
They build the wall, the bullet appears then, or is the bullet in the air? It doesn't make sense.
Weird for a time travel film that it doesn't make sense. Apart from one time travel film or trilogy of time travel films.
That also don't make sense, James.
I did promise only one Back to the Future reference today, and I've already blown it, but don't worry, there's more.
Are you claiming that the Back to the Future films make sense?
The first one does, in a way. The second one doesn't because they put the girl on a swing and then the world changes around her, but she is still there on the swing in the other reality. She should have been abandoned in Bifferific, that's the proper name, for the alternate 1985 ruled by Biff. It's actually called Bifferific. Fun facts. But that's, weirdly, that's not what I'm here to tell you about. Also, thankfully, that's
The weird thing is the people who haven't heard the podcast before are loving this.
gonna-
They just came to hear really obscure and tedious facts about the background of Back to the Future.
They came for Back to the Future facts. Yes, yes. No, I'm just going to rewrite the show as we go. No, today we have got a very scary tale, as in inspired by this piece, or maybe that piece was inspired by this tale. It is the tale of Dickey of Tunsted. Or
A terrifying title.
The Miraculous Skull.
That's lots better.
It takes place. Well, no, actually, I'm going to do the proper intro. Coombs Valley in Dark Peak in Derbyshire. Quiet, peaceful, serene. That is until Dickey of Tunsted wakes up, because Dickey of Tunsted is a screaming skull.
How could a screaming skull even use an ineffectual flying machine that plummets into the pines?
I don't know, but fortunately his friends help him out. That's what's
Just to be
good about
clear,
him.
are you understanding this as a reference to the raccoons, or is it just me? Yes. Yeah. One person was enjoying that, and everyone else was like, "This is weirdly phrased."
Is
It's
this
the
another
start
Back
of
to
the TV show, The Raccoons.
No, this takes place in, well, near a little town, the capital of the peak, Chapel Unley Frith. I had to revise how to pronounce that because I've got in trouble a lot recently for my pronunciation of names. Is Chapel Unley Frith.
Unley Frith.
Spelt Chapel -en-le-frith.
Oh.
It's a little bit French, but don't let that scare you.
So it's not En Le Frith.
No, I've said that.
Chapelle en Le Frith.
Chapelle.
Où est le chapelle en Le Frith?
Où est la chapelle?
Où est?
Dans le Frith. If I knew how to say of course in French, I would have said it then, but I don't.
I want to jouer le tennis. Or aller à la piscine.
What are you going to do in the
I think it's a tennis move. I don't know. It's like a volley.
into the swimming
Yeah,
pool?
yeah.
That's a big.
Wet tennis. It's huge in France.
That's not water polo, is it? That's a different game. It's a fully different game. So, yeah, Dickey is a skull that has been on Tunsted Farm near Chapel Unley Frith for around 400 years. By the way, fun fact, Chapel Unley Frith is the site of the first recorded UFO sighting in the British Isles.
Ooh.
in 1716. It's in the church records for some reason.
UFO sighting is in the church records.
Yeah.
All right. It's a church roof needs repairs. Baby baptized. First UFO.
They had one of those big sort of thermometers out the front.
But it's only got one UFO in
Yeah,
it.
it just went up to 1 and fell over in the wind. So there was a study done in 1993 by Andy Roberts and Dave Clark. Sounds like the real names of like a dance double act.
It's like classic 90s names.
Yeah, Andy Roberts, Dave Clark. They found that there were about 27 legends around the country of screaming skulls. Various houses have this skull in them that if you take it off the property, it screams. And Dickey was one of these.
I think you considered doing a gasp of shock at the idea of the screaming skull there, and then like one person did it. But I saw that the rest of you were thinking, is that gasp worthy? And you all decided no.
Well,
but for the edit, maybe could you just give us just do that again, and could you just seriously pull you away, because James done a lot of preparation here.
Yeah.
He doesn't even live in London anymore. He has to really travel to get in here.
Dickey of Tunsted was a very special one.
Well, don't take the mickey. It has to be believable for the edits.
We're going to take you all outside to get you to scream, because skulls, everyone's got one.
Great slogan.
And, well, much like you guys then, once a wagoner was passing Tunsted Farm.
You'll find this character relatable. A wagoner. Fairly normal job.
One who wagons. He was passing the farm and he mocked the skull.
Classic mistake.
He saw a light was on in the window that Dickey was kept. And he said, he jeered, "Dickey's going to bed?" End of jeer. End of the jeer.
That's
there.
actually really good.
It's a good jeer.
No, that's really funny. I'm a professional comedian. If I saw a skull in a window, I'd be pretty pleased with Dickey's going to bed. That's quite good.
Well, Dickey wasn't pleased because that wagon flipped right over. Much like the truck in the Christopher Nolan film The Dark Knight. Straight over. So, Dickey does not like being mocked. And we are about to do a full podcast and live stream about that skull. So, I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe, is the room going to flip? Maybe the podcast will flip, like when you're listening to it back. Your MP3 recorder.
What? What?
They need to stop laughing at me so I can say that right for the end.
No, I think you're stuck with that. When you're listening to, as you're putting the cassette tape in, and then pressing play and record simultaneously. That's going to record over the podcast. That's a mistake.
And just pause it for the adverts as well. Yeah. You don't want that. Maybe your MP3 player will flip. Maybe your MP3 player will flip over is what I was going to say. Thanks for ruining that, everyone, including me, especially me.
It's the curse of Dickey. Up until now, James has never misspoken on the podcast. No. And every joke has come out a solid gold first time.
It's flipped my tongue in
a
way, perhaps.
Ooh.
So, as with Pumps, do you remember?
Forgot about that.
You remember Pumps from Leicester? There was a chap who had a pair of shoes in his house, which if you took them out, bad things would happen. If you took this skull out of Tunsted Farm, dire consequences. For example, here's a list, not limited to, but including once a farmer scythed the field of grass, turned around, the grass was unscythed.
That's a stick. What he's done is he's picked up a stick instead of a scythe. A scythe that doesn't scythe is a stick.
Yeah. Another one, your crops will fail, which is sort of the opposite of the last one. Really. Your cattle might die or wander off.
Or be alive too much. Yeah, because he likes to do the opposite.
Really big. Some farm workers have had accidents.
Whoa.
Sounds like I'm doing an insurance advert. for small holdings.
I've seen 1970s public information films. Farms are a death trap anyway, surely.
Absolutely.
You can't move for children falling into grain silos on farms.
No, but fortunately there was a camera there to help it. And much like David Attenborough, there was a camera there to catch it. And much like David Attenborough, they would not help those kids. That was Dickey.
What are you accusing David Attenborough of doing?
He doesn't help the animals.
You want to jump in for an antelope?
If a polar bear,
Fight off a lion?
if a polar bear fell into a grain silo, he would not help. He'd do a little bit to camera at the end about how it was my fault personally.
Yeah.
And I'd get really upset. Some clown threw it in Coombs Reservoir.
Wow.
Threw the skull in Coombs Reservoir,
No,
and all the fish died.
An actual clown, or are you just criticising this person?
I was criticising the person. It was,
Right.
it was probably a farmer. And all the fish died in the reservoir. So maybe it was a sort of form of dynamite fishing. That would be actually quite a clever way of doing it. So they just float up to the top, skim them off. You got a load of fish. Are there usually fish in reservoirs as well?
I was going to say that's a bit disgusting, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's doing that reservoir a favour.
The guy who's seen the raccoons also thinks there are fish in reservoirs. Some reservoirs have some fish.
But it's
I think that's what was said. There's some laughter suggesting I misheard, but I'm doubling down on it. Some reservoirs, some fish.
it's no.
No woman,
everyone's
no
got a
cry. Some reservoirs, some fish.
Yeah, I think that seems like a good idea. Like how you put a bit of chlorine in a swimming pool to get rid of all the germs and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe you just get a haunted skull, and pop it in your. Like if you're camping and you haven't got access to fresh water,
Yeah.
just pop a skull. Fresh water. Don't worry about those carbon rods or anything like that.
When people say that the water's like not fit for not potable, do you think that's because there's a fish in it?
Yes. Also, I thought it was potable.
Oh.
That was the
Well, if
pronunciation.
only there were a room full of people who can check. Is it pronounced potable or potable?
For once I win. Wow.
Yeah, I'm genuinely upset. I'm thinking of walking off the podcast. That's the third time I've been wrong on the podcast.
That's Dickey. That is Dickey.
The curse of
It's the curse of
Dickey.
Dickey.
Potable. That just means you can put it in a pot.
Yeah, that's what you want to do with it. Someone say that's French.
Is this the French of... Is the word French? Because if it is, then no wonder it's tripped me up. It is French. Damn them.
Potable.
Potable.
Dans le potable.
What?
Dans le potable.
Saying it in an Italian accent's not making it any clearer.
It's one of my 3 accents.
I'm going to check that during the interval, but the confidence of that person makes me think I'm really wrong.
But we've established there's no French people in.
Yeah.
So
Let's cut this out. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody enjoyed the bit where I was wrong. I don't
No.
think that needs... I don't think that needs to go into the edit.
especially not the editor,
Nah.
who has the power. And twice, it got buried in the churchyard in Chapel Only Frith. And according to Mr. A. Fox,
What do you say? Give me some chickens. Can I have a look at your chickens? He's a clever fellow.
an apparition appeared that was weeping and wailing during the witching hours of the night. Furniture will be tossed up and down in utter confusion. Have you ever seen a confused sofa? A perplexed cupboard? Actually, probably occasional tables are a bit confused sometimes because they don't know. They don't know what they're going to be.
Yeah.
I'm occasionally a table, but I'm at a table right now.
Now, come on. That was a well-honed bit.
It's probably quite easy to baffle a cushion. was the kicker. Imagine that. Imagine having that as material.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That's
That's
it.
why I do podcasts. And one time the farmhouse was being rebuilt, and during which the workmen threw the skull into a big pile of manure.
Did Dickey like that, or...?
No, he was like, I hate manure.
Well, that's from that film. Back to the Future.
That's my Back to the Future card.
It's a weird line that they felt the need to establish that Biff didn't enjoy having manure dropped on him. It's weird that at a script level they thought, make it clear that he's not into that. That's not for him at all.
Because he had a mouth full of it, and you might have thought it was just, oh, this is a perfect opportunity to enjoy some fresh manure.
But he has to spit it out to say, I didn't like that.
I, unlike everyone else, hate manure. I am not a rose.
Does he say that?
He doesn't. That's
No.
That's in the extended.
Quite poetical, yeah.
That's in the manure horrific version, where manure becomes the mayor of Hill Valley. I see why I limit myself to one Back to the Future reference for that podcast now. I'm starting to see that. Yeah, but warn the workman.
Yeah.
Like, if you've got a skull in your property that doesn't want to be taken off the property, warn the workman. Warn the workman.
That's a good Shake Shaft tip, that.
Yeah, that's a life hack.
I don't know if is it a life hack?
That is a life hack.
Warn the workman is a life hack.
Warn the workman
Life
if you've
hack?
got skulls on your property that you don't want thrown away. Also, if you're a workman and you find a skull on a property you're working on, don't just chuck it into a big pile of poo.
It's human remains. There are legal procedures you have to follow.
Report it.
Don't just wang it into a big pile of poo.
I can't believe I need to say this.
What would be appropriately respectful?
There will always be repercussions.
Even if the skull itself is not angry, someone will be angry.
Yes,
so don't do that.
Whether or not it's a haunted skull, just don't do it. I don't think I should have to say this, to be honest. Right, I've wound myself up. I didn't want to be that guy.
It's awful to see that a bias against skulls, that prejudice still exists when we've all got one. You know? So.
It's not like what you said. Like, I forgot what you said.
The raccoons.
Some
reservoirs, some fish.
Yeah.
Great catchphrase.
But really memorable.
Yeah. It's like a call and response. Some reservoir.
Some fish.
Skulls. Thank you.
I got to say, it doesn't have the.
You're winning now.
It doesn't have the Bruce Forsyth quality of some reservoir, some fish.
Skulls. In here. We've all got one. And now some dancing. It's my Bruce Forsyth impression. And now some dancing.
What's this episode about?
So, yeah, when they did that, the Spectre returned. And when the builders would turn up in the morning, all their stuff had been messed around with. It's like a sort of builder, you know, when I imagine more people work in an office here than are builders. It's like when you turn up to the office and someone's messed with your chair settings, or, you know, fiddled around with your screen's presets. It's like that for builders. You turn up and you hammer, someone's messed with all the presets on it. The settings on all your nails are wrong. And they could hear a low, unearthly moaning underneath when they were sawing and hammering and doing the builder stuff, which nowadays would probably be drowned out by a radio.
Yeah, just Magic FM.
Yeah. Or mellow magic, if you've got a slightly more chilled out builder. So there's a spooky and a sad story as well from friend of the show, Haunted England by Christ in a Hole.
Oh, wow.
This is the actual.
I've never actually seen the book Christ in a Hole. It does say that.
It says it right there.
It does say Christ in a Hole.
It's really scary. Like, I have to hide it from. It scares my children, that picture.
Can I have a look? Oh, wow, it's really spooky, yeah. What a cracker.
There we go for the live stream.
Can you get that on the camera?
Yeah. So.
Wow, the illustrations in this are absolutely terrifying. That's some really expressionistic
That's
stuff.
just a skull on a door.
Like as a prank,
Everyone's
it's
got
just
one.
been placed there so that when you open it, the skull falls.
Yes, actually. This is this is quite a sad one. So, when Alfred Fryer visited the farm in the 80s of the last century, this book has obviously come out in our last century, so 2 centuries ago. the tenant, Mr. Lomas, told him that one night when his daughter was ill, he was sitting in the kitchen alone, and he had someone coming downstairs and saw a female figure pass between his chair and the fire and bend over the cradle. And thinking it was a servant, he told her not to disturb the baby. And as soon as he spoke, she vanished. And the baby got really ill.
What a kicker to that one, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it okay in the end, the baby?
Well, it was 200 years ago, so I hope she's dead. I didn't think the podcast would go this way, but I
Podcaster in hopes baby dead. Shock. Outrageous that you would wish death upon an innocent baby.
A 200-year-old baby. And it was the only time he saw the ghost himself, but the farm servants said they often had done so. Farm servants, that's a bit of an odd turn of phrase. So yeah, scary, sad. Dickey's not all bad though. Come on, guys. I'm going to redeem him.
Okay. I'm just looking at the notes and it says not all bad in capital letters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, but Dickey is not all bad. Come on, guys. Wow, the whole thing. Wait, what does it say there?
Don't do a Back to the Future reference.
Some river, some reservoir, some fish. How did James know
He's a plant.
that was going to happen?
Well, one of the farm owners, Mr. Brownlow, said they would soon part with their best cow than get rid of Dickey. Their best cow. Love to have a favourite cow.
So they like Dickey more than they like the cow.
The best cow, yeah.
Mm.
Because it would help out on the farm. Dickey would help on the farm. If the animals got into trouble, like downtown, probably running with a bad crowd or something, or perhaps a cow was choking on a train. No. Once again, you're going to need to stop laughing so I can correct myself.
James, as a master of life hacks, what should we do if we see a cow choking on a train? Because the Heimlich maneuver is a challenge because of the circumference of a cow. Do you just get in and try and punch? Which stomach do you aim for when you're
You can't. I don't
punching?
know. The circumference of a cow that swallowed a train as well. That would be like double blobby.
I thought it was on a train and choking. Like it's probably sitting in one of the chairs that has extra leg room.
You'd hope, yeah. You'd hope that someone would give up a chair to a cow on a train.
I think so.
What's the biggest animal anyone's ever seen on a train out of interest in the room?
I've got a macaw.
A macaw?
Saw a macaw on a train.
With an owner?
Yeah, he wasn't there with a first-class ticket.
Doing a Sudoku?
Just on the anti-macassar. With his, that's
Macassar sounds like another type of bird, so it sounds like it's some sort of horrible, caste system.
They're the little the things they put on the headrests to keep them clean, I think. I'm probably pronouncing it wrongly. Anti-macassar?
Antimacassar.
There you go. Same.
Mum's
It's the
sister.
same, really, isn't it?
What is macassar? Is that hair muck?
It's, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, apologies.
Yes, it's like Dapper Dan. You know, it's a pomade, which used to be all over the place of people's disgusting, slimy heads.
But now you can't buy it because no one knows how to say it.
But
so
we
you can't
still,
order it.
but we still have anti-macassars.
And they're doing their job, evidently.
I saw a parrot on the train. Anecdote complete. What were you trying to say there?
I was just going to say that what it was, and the example given in the book is a cow choking on a chain, which is still weird. And again, still need to do that Heimlich maneuver, and you still need to pick the right stomach to do it.
So it's eaten the chain. It's eaten the chain and is then regretting it.
I guess so. But Dickey's there.
Pull on the chain.
Oh, yeah.
Just pull on the other end.
It's
9 guys standing around going, don't know how we're going to deal with this.
just a cow with a little anchor hanging out his mouth.
Yeah, he tried pulling his tail. It's doing nothing. Blowing its ears. It's like, pull on the chain. Like, I'm not a farming man, but...
You're no vet. You're not a vet.
I'm no vet, no.
You're no vet. No, Dickey would warn the farmer with 3 taps on the window. 3 taps, just in case you didn't know what they were. It would also alert...
And that's the code for a cow is choking on a chain.
It's general farm business.
Okay,
Bad
right.
Farm business.
General farm emergency. Tap, tap, tap.
Yes, if there were robbers or burglars or ne'er-do-wells on the land, on the window, they'd know to go and sort it out.
Right, same number of taps, I notice.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
Just general
problems. General problems, right.
According to Margaret Bellhouse, people wouldn't dare walk on Dickey's land after dark because a strange black dog would follow them down the road and vanish into the hill.
So yeah, it's pretty spooky. Yeah.
A black dog vanishing at night in the countride is less spooky. And people thought that was Dickey's spirit seeing people off the land, making sure that they got away.
Leave it alone.
That's a good dog.
We're off my land.
Yeah.
That's a dog saying, "Get off my land."
Yeah.
It's got a chain in its mouth. Pull the chain.
So is he's like Lassie, like someone could down the mineshaft. He's just coming in with information.
Yes. Yeah.
Either delivered as a dog or through semaphore.
Yeah.
No.
Tap tap tap.
Morse code.
Yes.
Not semaphore.
He didn't do
That's
semaphore.
flags.
He would need more arms for that than it had. And once a thief tried to make off with a sack of potatoes, but they got fixed by Dickey.
Could he have perhaps been fixed by the fact that that's quite heavy?
May well be. And it was muddy.
It's just
as well.
just quite slow.
Fixed in this context is like with Pamp's house. It means rendered unable to move, not what I need to do to my iPhone screen. And Dickey.
And not like what you might do to a dog either.
Oh yes, yeah.
It wasn't castrated by the skull.
You know what? I didn't check.
It stopped him moving temporarily, at least.
Maybe that sack of potatoes had a double meaning. But Dickey was famous, and I found this on a blog by someone called Darkus Wolfson.
Not a real name. Fake name.
In the Buxton Museum, you can find like postcards of Dickey that they used to sell. People used to sell them. People used to visit the farm to see Dickey, much to the annoyance of the farmers who were just trying to get on with saving their cows from chains and so on. In 1950, Crichton Porteous.
Do we think that's a real name? I think that's a real name. I think that one's a real name. Darkus Wolfshart, I don't believe.
Darkus Wolfson.
Nah.
Crichton.
Fake blog name, definitely.
Crichton Porteous wrote of a tale that a farmer.
Sorry, I think because I interrupted you, I think you mispronounced his name.
Oh yeah, I said Porteous like it was portentous, but no, it's just Porteous like porous. So.
Sorry, go again then.
Yeah. In 1950, Crichton Porteous.
No, don't laugh on the second take.
I have to put the first take in now.
It's all right. They'll do it properly.
As with the podcast, we're going to keep doing it until they stop laughing. In 1950, you'll never guess, Crichton Porteous wrote of a tale that a farmer and wife were riding back from market. Farmer up top in the riding position, wife sat side saddle, no doubt, on the back of the horse, further back on the horse. They were all on the back of the horse. Further back on the horse. Her job was to hop off, open the gate, horse goes through, shut the gate, hop back on the horse. Tiring. To be honest, that's a more tiring job. And she was quite tired. And she said, quite innocently, I wish Dickey would open them, about the gates. And the gate swung open. And they went through and it swung back shut. And they happened all the way home. Every gate open, shut. So on and so on for many more gates. And you'd think that would help the wife to, be a bit, more chilled out. But she was terrified because of the magic gates.
Be careful what you wish for, lazy farm wife. It's the moral of that story.
And now, in 1863, Dickey took on the big boys because the railway men came to town. And they wanted to build a bridge over the reservoir using a field from Tunsted Farm. But the farmer objected and probably wrote on the council's portal and had that refused. But Dickey got involved. And the arches of the bridge became distorted and sank into the previously unspotted marshland. And the railway men reported it as quicksand. but everyone knew it was Dickey.
Did I tell you near Aberystwyth? Did I tell you about my encounter with a bit of very odd graffiti there?
No.
I was travelling out of Aberystwyth, and there's a fairly new train station there. It's in the middle of nowhere. There's only a few houses around, but there's one house near the train platform which has, in pretty large, like 4-foot high letters, has "Welcome to Hell" painted on the house. And it's like, I mean, I live in South London, so like it's worse where I live than, like, the train station where I live has like warnings. Did you see the incident? Something terrible happened here. Please call this number if you can help. Like, and so I googled it, and the man in the house doesn't like the train. But what he needs to do is work on his messaging, because it sounds like he's saying, "Hello, train, you're fine. My house is awful." It's really confusing, and as a train passenger, there's little I can do about the existence of the station.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, somebody who hates train stations is leaving.
It's that guy from the house.
I'm really sorry for mocking your large lettering, which must have taken ages.
I'm sorry. Sorry about your cow. Maybe that's what caught. Maybe he had a big cow that choked on a train.
It's actually, it's quite triggering.
It's actually quite. Yeah, I'm surprised he waited so long.
Yep.
To leave. Anyway, there's another railway-based anecdote, or probably the same railway-based anecdote, but just changed over the years. And that there was that a line had to be redirected due to a landslide in the Goit Valley and a collapsed tunnel in Buxton. That's it. That's that was Dickey as well. And the bridge was called.
Oh, he
Dickey's
collapsed
Bridge.
the tunnel.
He collapsed the tunnel. He caused the landslide in the Goit Valley.
Right.
But don't worry, everyone. There is a poem. And I'm going to be reading from Derbyshire Ghosts and Legends, which features the cover. It's the skeleton monk.
It's a classic skeleton points at a thing.
And fair warning, it's written in the vernacular.
Which vernacular is that?
Well, you're going to find out. It was written by the dialect poet Samuel Laycock.
We're just breezing past Samuel Laycock then. No, good. Good, I respect you for not even giggling at Samuel Laycock. The train person's back. Yeah, he heard Laycock and thought, I don't want to miss this.
Now, Dickey, be quiet, wee lad, and let navvies and railway be. Mon, thou shouldn't do so, it's too bad. What harm are they doing to thee? Deed folk shouldn't meddle at all, but leave these matters to thwick. They'll see they're done gradely, I know. Dost ye hear what I'll say to thee, Dick? Poem.
Spontaneous applause. Well done, James. So leave it to the wick. To wick. Thwick. Is that the living? Is that what wick means? 'Cause I feel like it's there because it rhymes with dick.
There's a glossary.
Oh, okay.
And wick is weak, as in 7 days.
Right.
Weak, as in not strong, or quick, and there's an asterisk.
Quick, as in alive.
Yes. The fact that wick can mean either weak or quick gives rise to a great controversy. There's a well-known rhyme that goes, Derbyshire born and Derbyshire bred, strong in the arm but wick in the head. Now, people from Derbyshire say it means quick-witted. People not from Derbyshire say it means weak in the head. So, glad.
But the people from Derbyshire's defence is, no, we were saying that word wrong.
So, I thought.
Also, alive in the head doesn't mean. That's weird. There's no way it means alive in the head.
Just quick-witted, you know. Snap,
oh,
snap,
yeah,
snap.
Sorry, I forgot about the other meaning of quick. Carry on. Yeah.
So, what better way to get to the bottom of this than to go to Tunsted Farm yourself? Don't worry, I haven't got coaches.
Before you start, James, I've seen a few of your
Field reports.
field reports.
Field reports.
And I just, if I can speak on behalf of the audience, is this going to be one where you uncover some solid gold, or is this going to be another case of a confused dad wandering around fields going, oh, there it is. No, that's not it. For about 2.5 minutes.
3 minutes. And it was drizzling. It was right up a hill as well. Okay, so we're going to hopefully play the video. So this is the path off the road up to Tunsted Farm, which is where Dickey's skull is meant to be. I don't know if you can just ask people if they've got a haunted skull on their property. Like, what if they don't know? Is this how you'd want to find out? Don't know. If you've got a haunted skull on your property, let us know in the comments below. It's coming up for Halloween, so it's hard to tell at the moment who's got haunted artifacts up in their windows and who's just, you know, decorating for the season. It's a lot farther than it looked on the map, to be honest. It's really far. Some sheep over there, covered in graffiti. I think they've been led astray. Shame, really. Still walking. Still walking. Oh, I'm knackered. I think I'm coming up to a farm now. I don't know if it's the farm. And it said the skull acts as a sort of burglar alarm. I wonder if it gave you the weather. It's really hilly. Hey, is that it? Is that it down there? Basically, it knows I'm here already. If that sign's not a liar, then that's where he is. Could that be a skull hatch? Meant to be kept in a cheese vat at the bottom of the stairs. I don't know what a cheese vat is. Well, they've not put it on show in any of the windows that we can see. Once again, inconclusive. The wrong farm, guys. It was the wrong farm. This is the right farm. Tunsted Farm, this is the one. That was just the old farm. Ooh, they've got a spooky old lamp in their drive. I'm gonna have a nosy round. Brook babbling. Is that a box? Is that a cheese vat? How do you ask someone though? How do you knock on and go, oh, excuse me, have you got a bit of a skull that screams when you take it off your property? Or if a builder hoys it in a hedge, he makes a tunnel cave in over in Goit. You can't ask someone that. Hey mate, have you ever seen a skull that screams if you take it off a property, but acts as a sort of proto alarm system / smart speaker? All right, thanks for your time. I'll interview a sheep. I'm not embarrassed about that. Bad lads. Always shut the gates. Yep, gone the wrong way again. Down here. Stingers. Still stingers. So, let's have a little break, go and get a little drink. We'll be back in 15 minutes.
And I think maybe some applause for James for that.
And record. Thanks for coming back.
James really thought you weren't going to come back.
I forgot to do the big sell for the second half. We're going to find out who is Dickey. Yeah. Oh, it's like they haven't watched my video. But we've got some other stuff. First of all, Alistair, have you been doing a bit of research on skulls?
I have done a little bit of research into screaming skulls because, as you say, they are not that rare. There's a lot of them about.
37, 27, a number. Which I will edit in without a questioning tone of voice.
Just do all the numbers, just count them now, and then we'll just edit in the right number.
1, 3, and so on.
Boldly skipping 2 there. It's not going to be 2.
Everyone's got one.
What was the fish catchphrase? I've forgotten everything from the first. Some reservoir. Some fish. We're back in the game. Here we go.
It also sounds like it's like bigging it up as well, doesn't it? Like, oh, that was some reservoir, and then everyone go, and some fish.
I'd like to tell you about Wardley Hall in Lancashire.
Oh, I can do that one. I can do that voice if
Well,
you want.
it was in Lancashire. It's now part of Greater Manchester.
I can't do that accent.
All right. Wardley Hall has a screaming skull, which, as far as I can tell, to this day can be seen behind, glazed in a little nook or a niche, or as Americans would say, a niche.
A niche. A skull niche.
A little niche. They've got a lovely little niche at the top of the stairs with a skull in it, and it was first mentioned by J.E. Bamber in 1745. He described it being at the top of the stairs. Which I don't think...
No, that's...
As a dad, James, can I ask you, how do you feel about a skull being placed at the top step of the stairs?
No. That is a trip hazard. I don't know if you've ever stepped on a piece of Lego. It's a lot worse stepping on a skull.
Yep. Especially a vengeful skull.
Yes, you need... Put kids, put that skull back in the skull box. Come on.
Why is there a skull at the top of the stairs? Anyone?
Oh, does
No,
the
I'm
skull,
talking to myself.
Does the skull live at the top of the stairs now?
Is that...
Is that where we keep our skull, our screaming skull? Don't put it in the garden. You'll scare the neighbours.
Thomas Barrett, you might think I'm pronouncing Barrett strangely. It's Barrett with an I. Thomas Barrett in 1782 wrote, and we don't know what he sounded like, so I'm going to do my general old-timey guy voice that I do whenever I read it. I don't know what the voice is going to be, and it always just comes out the same. From time out of mind,
It's the voice.
the occupants of Wardley Hill have had a superstitious veneration for the skull, not permitting it to be removed from its place at the topmost step of the staircase. He goes on to explain where the skull may have come from. A young man of the Downs family, who owned the house at the time, being in London on a night in his frolics, vowed to his companions that he would kill the first man he met. And accordingly...
Lads.
You know what? Northerners in London saying thank you to the bus driver and just randomly killing a guy who turns out to be a tailor by trade. That's the last time he appears in the story. Just a little bit of humanising detail there, really underlining the tragedy. But justice eventually caught up with young Downs. Some while after, he, being in a riot upon London Bridge, a watchman made a stroke at him with his bill and severed his head from his body. What's a bill?
The watchman was a duck. Oh dear.
Yeah.
This is wow. How did he get there by train? Because if you'd have seen that, you would be able to enter the competition from the first half.
I was going to say, if the policeman was a duck, he'd be like, you know the way people say F the pigs? He'd be like, F the ducks. And it would rhyme.
Or
I'm not going to say it because it's rude, but you know what I was getting at there.
quack, quack. It's the sound of the duck police.
It's my own catchphrase.
Quang, quang. It's the gendarmerie.
Are we just doing old jokes from the podcast?
Yes. Yeah, this
just play the
person
hits.
over here has not heard them. Has not heard it.
And I bet they really enjoyed quack quack sound of the duck police. I bet that made a lot of sense decontextualized. So that's presented by Barrett as sort of justice. When what it actually is police violence, but it turned out the guy had committed another unrelated crime. It's like that's fine.
And they cut his head
They
clean
chopped his
off?
head clean off. So you would imagine, James, when they, in order to check the veracity of the story, when they got in and had a look at the coffin of, forgot to write his name down, Robert Downs.
Yeah,
Downs?
yeah, something like that. Yeah. Was it a foot
Of
shorter
young-
than they expected?
Yeah, the coffin just ends.
Yeah.
That's because you can save money on your coffins by saying, "I'll just have one of the non-head ones, please." No, the first thing they saw when they thought when they saw the coffin, the first thing they thought when they saw the coffin was, "That's weird. It's a full-sized head coffin." They opened it up, skull right on there.
Oh.
It wasn't Robert Downs or R. Downs' head. The skull was someone else. And friend of the show, Lord of the Land, has a hypothesis, which is that the head belonged to a certain Father Ambrose, who was martyred in 1641 for being Catholic. He was hanged, drawn, and what do you think?
Yeah, I go for the quartering.
Is
afterwards.
everyone going with quartered, not pardoned? It's never let off. It's never hung, drawn, and just given a real talking to, is it? No, you're absolutely right. He was hung, drawn, and quartered. The full deal, which sadly resulted in his death.
It's kind of a 17th century meal deal.
Yeah, you actually pay more if you don't get the quartering. So even if you don't want it, it's better value. And I think he was canonized in the 70s, so I think he's a saint. He's one of the English martyrs. And the Downs family were Catholics, so the idea is that they were actually venerating a relic of the martyred Father Ambrose. But in order to keep quiet about that, because Catholicism was something of a no-no, bearing in mind you could be murdered 3 times for it, sequentially, they invented the story of it belongs to this wild young lad of the family. And investigations of the skull showed that on the inside of it, I'm pointing to the outside of my skull here, but if you could imagine the opposite of that, on the inside of it, it showed marks as if it had been held, as if it had been stuck on a pike. I think they stuck Father Ambrose's head on a pike and then they stuck his arms on 2 others, like a very cheap puppet show.
Gets the crowds in, though.
Yeah. No, so it will, about Mrs. Brown's Boys. People enjoy it, and it's it's kind of the same with the severed limbs of a Catholic. Who are we to argue with popular consensus?
It's not for me,
No.
but people like it.
Yeah.
People like it.
So the evidence seems to suggest that they might have sneaked out, got the head off the stick, and squirreled it away in the house.
Onto the top of their stairs and
Onto
left
the
it
top
there
of
on
their
show.
stairs. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we all do, right? No, none of us. Good.
Do they say, "I'll go to the foot of our stairs" where you're from?
No.
Has anybody heard this phrase? "I'll go to the foot of our stairs." Yeah, I think it's a Yorkshire phrase. It expresses surprise, I think. Like "blow me down with a feather." "I'll go to the foot of our stairs." As an example of something no one from Yorkshire would ever do. It's just a weird phrase.
What do they do there? Just stand for a
No, they
bit?
don't actually do it, James.
Oh.
It's just a thing you say, like "some reservoir." Some fish. It's just a thing you say.
It is one of the
Cool
classic
catchphrase.
catchphrases, yeah. Classic cool catchphrases.
So that is a potted history of the skull of Wardley Hall.
Oh, that's a lovely...
Probably not even pronounced like that.
No, Wardley
Wardley
Hall.
Hall.
Skull of Wardley Hall. That's my other voice.
It's Chris Cantrell's voice.
Yes.
Sorry, was that the sound of... Laura, was that you going, ugh, at the mention of Chris Cantrell?
Sorry.
All right.
So are we.
Don't worry, I'm sure that's the last you'll hear from him in this Halloween special.
Yes. So, who was Dickey? Chris Cantrell. No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
Get me out of them and you. I don't like it. I'm like Biff from Back to the Future.
He is a little bit like Biff from Back to the Future,
Is
now
he?
you come to mention it.
He did steal my sports almanac, but apart from that,
Yeah, I'm not allowed to do any more references,
No.
so that's it. That's where
that's the end of that.
riff will end. But who was Dickey? It was said that it was the skull of a trooper called Ned Dixon, who fought in France against the French in
get in.
the I looked this up as well, in Huguenot, the Huguenot Wars.
I mean, you know you're saying that wrongly.
Huguenots, the Huguenot Wars.
Huguenot, don't say the T.
Huguenot.
I'm saying that
Oh,
right.
it's
Like, Huguenot? Huguenot.
The Huguenot Wars. He fought bravely in the Battle of Ivory, and he actually saved Lord Willoughby. So
It's really passive-aggressive the way you said that.
he was badly wounded, and he lay on the battlefield all night, and he was not expected to survive, but he did recover, albeit in very poor health.
There's only so much drama you can wring out of this,
Yeah.
considering we know he becomes a skull.
Yeah. He was in
So there's
two.
bad news about his arms, torso, legs, groin, feet. They're a write-off, but there is some good news.
He was too bad. He was in too bad health to be a soldier, so he got sent home, and he returned to his farm in Tunsted.
Sorry, you're expecting a woo for Tunsted?
Tunsted Farm. He probably found the right one on the first go. Where his cousin Jack Johnson, not the musician, the farmer from the past, was looking after the farm, and to be honest, he believed Ned was dead.
Yes, he sees just his head rolling in through the gate.
No, he's still a full.
He's still a whole man.
He's still a whole man, but he's just in very poor health.
That's a shame because he could have got home much cheaper if he'd just been a head.
Yeah.
Just going on the shelf at the top of the train.
Yeah, no, or just rolled.
Just roll.
Just got rolled home. No, he was. He
Only
came.
works if you live downhill, but yeah.
No, as we saw, it's top of a hill. You don't want to be kicking a skull up that hill. I tell you that. So Jack Johnson and Mrs. Jack Johnson were not very happy to see this cousin alive, and they welcomed him back for the night. However, they cut his head off in that night and took possession of the farm. They buried him and carried on as if nothing had happened. And then the next day,
That's not a lot of carrying on as if nothing had happened.
no, they just went
If
to
it
bed,
happens the next day, what did they have time to do?
to go to sleep.
Just sleep.
Bury the body, woke up, and the head was standing upright on a stone in the farmhouse. Just the head. Ding. And the head, and it was, a quote, as wan and ghastly as when he was done.
As when he was done.
As when he was done. I guess when he got his head, unsurprisingly, his head still looked like the head of someone that had just been cut off from a body.
Yeah, it's not like when you cut someone's head off and you think, actually, that really suits them. It's just a really good look for them. Wow.
Yeah, like, haircut? No. No, I've had my whole body cut off completely. It suits you. You look well for
Have
it.
you lost a bit of weight? Yeah, quite actually loads.
Most of it.
Yeah, almost all the weight.
And the head remained there for the rest of the couple's lives. The skin and flesh
They don't do
rotting
anything about
away.
it.
They probably tried to put it, but every day it popped
Right,
back up
okay.
on that stone.
It wasn't like a spectre that their hands passed through. It was actually there physically.
It was there mouldering, and slowly turned into a skull,
Looking at them with accusing eyes.
and then accusing sockets
Ugh,
after a bit.
that's pretty spooky.
And according to the poet William Bennett, later on the wife was killed by the husband, and the husband was killed by a tree.
Oh, Hercule, how do you work these things out?
Yeah, he was killed by an oak tree falling on him.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
don't murder your cousin and stand near trees.
That's another case of something being presented as if, justice, rather than just a random thing that happened, but after.
Yeah. But that's not the only story of who Dickey is, because there's another story from the Peak District that there were two sisters who loved the same man, and one sister murdered the other one, and her dying words, the murdered one, her dying...
The dying words of the murderer were like, it worked out well for me.
Oh,
Only that oak tree hadn't killed me.
is that an oak tree? Is that oak tree getting bigger? And the dying word of the murdered one was that her bones would never rest in her grave. And after the funeral, the farmhouse was haunted by frightful noise. The farmhouse was haunted by frightful noises for many years and got unbearable. And then they remembered those dying words. And so they dug up the skull and put her head in a cheese vat at the bottom of the stairs. I still haven't found out what a cheese vat is. I'm guessing it's around head size, a little bit bigger.
So there's a debate on whether it's a boy's skull or a girl's skull.
Yes, and it's still called Dickey. And in 1950, Crichton Porteous wrote, "How old it is, no one knows, but when it was examined some years ago by a medical man, it was said to show no sign of decay, and he thought it was the skull of a girl of about 18 years. Doesn't really say what science bit he used for that. He's probably a skull of a girl for 18 years.
Also, medical man's a little bit vague, isn't it?
It is a little, yes.
Like, was he a doctor? I don't like to use the word doctor, I'm just more of a medical man.
Give me a skull, though. I'll tell you what sex it was. Easy, easy.
Go.
18 years, I reckon. Yep. It's. I was trying to think of a reference for an 18-year-old, like, I don't know, Tammy? Was Tammy a thing?
What?
It's a girls' clothing store from the past.
Oh, right. Maybe accessorise.
Accessorise would be a better
That's right.
reference, probably. Yes.
Yeah, maybe some clip earrings, but there's nothing to clip to, so...
No, they just keep falling off.
Just fill it up with them, I suppose. That's sad.
Yeah, that is sad. Its last reports were that Dickey has been quiet, and that
weird. So the most recent reports, for instance, since the advent of sound recording, are that it doesn't do anything at all, and it's just an object.
And in a little bit of research I wish I'd done before I shot that video, the skull is not at the farmhouse anymore.
Because that almost renders your field report a complete waste of time with no content whatsoever, apart from you trying to riff with a sheep.
Yeah, I thought we had a thing going on, me and that sheep.
And I've got to say, it went down remarkably well, considering the lack of substance to it. So fair play to you.
Yeah, and it will remain quiet unless it is mocked. Uh-oh. At one time, a group of lads drank from the skull, but received no punishment, because it was said that Dickey was once young and foolish, so didn't regard the prank as an insult.
Oh yeah, he'd love that, to have people drink out of his skull.
Yeah. And let's just hope that she was into podcasts, really, and we're all safe. So yeah, it turns out Dickey of Tunsted was maybe what's the sort of feminine version of Dickey?
Dickess?
Dickalina?
Yeah, Dickalina.
Dixophene? Yeah, so that's the story of Dickey of Tunsted on this Halloween night.
It's a lovely audience, but we've never had to prompt applause so hard. Wow.
Now, we've got a bit of a trick or treat for you. So, oh, wait a minute, we haven't scored this. We need to score. I forgot.
Oh, right, sorry.
In all my preparation, I forgot about the scoring. Should we score this? Folks?
Yeah.
You ready? You ready to help us out? Yeah. Thanks very much. Okay, so Category what? I forgot the word category there. Category 1. Naming. Try not to take into account that whole thing I did about it being called Dickey, but it's actually a murdered sister. What do you think of naming?
Well,
What we
Dickey is a good name.
Dickey's a good name. Dickey of Tunsted. Just going to flick through to Darkus Wolfson.
An obvious fake name, but Crichton Porteous.
Crichton Porteous.
That's really good. I liked... Oh.
That.
Listener and live stream watchers, a mysterious thudding, as if from someone in an upper room, which is definitely what it was. Just occurred, but there was no one there. Except there are several people there.
Tripping over skulls. Is this where the skull lives then? Is it going to say it? Samuel Laycock.
Oh, yeah, yes. French for Samuel the Cock.
Where? Bon.
I like Father Ambrose because he sounds like he solves crimes.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good one, yeah. And then as custard afterwards.
Yeah.
It's like his thing,
Yeah.
like Kojak had the lolly.
Yeah.
He just eats custard.
It's just a big bowl of custard. It's too much custard. You know how it's the opposite of how Biff is to manure. He is to custard. If a
Ambrose.
big cart of egg custard fell on him, he'd be like, I like this. Om nom nom.
I love custard.
He talks a lot like you there, the sound of a giant.
He was a big guy.
Little giant. He was a little giant of a man.
Ned,
like custard.
Ned Dixon is another name. Jack Johnson. Lord Willoughby. Remember him?
I like Mrs. Jack Johnson. She's got a bit of a vibe.
The Huguenots. Huge.
It sounds like you're trying to make them sound big, but then you have to admit they're not. They're huge, they're not.
They're not. Huge.
They're not that big.
Huge or not. I've lost my place in Christina Hull's book. Sorry, Christina.
Probably edit this bit out.
Yeah. Do that. Do that in your minds right now. Mr. A. Fox.
Mr. A Fox.
Thank you very much. Just can't find it. Just can't find it. It's like the page has vanished.
Are you once again submitting a lack of substance as evidence of supernatural activity?
Roger Down was that guy's name.
What did I say? I said Robert.
Say Roger a few times and I'll drop him in the edit.
And his name was Robert Down. Robert Down. Robert Down. That should be enough.
Yep. Mr. Lomas, Alfred Fryer, A. Fryer.
I think it's time to throw this to the crowd because I think you had us with A Fox.
Yeah.
I reckon it's going to be high. Let's hear it. Who thinks it's... I'm going to start at 3. Who thinks it's 3? No one. No. So, James, that means they might think it's lower than 3.
Yeah,
Who thinks it's 4? It's quite exciting. Who thinks it's 5? Oh, hold on.
just one screaming skull.
A lot of people waiting to see if other people thought it was 5. I'm going to go back down. Who thinks it's 1? Who thinks it's 2?
Those are all the numbers. We've done all the numbers.
All right.
You've got to have an opinion.
It's between 4 and 5. Is it 4? Yay. Is it 5? Yay. It's 4, James.
Yes. Okay.
Democracy.
Cat the Second, category 2, supernatural.
Supernatural. Well, it's extremely supernatural. You've got multiple screaming skulls.
Yeah. You've got a field of grass getting scythed and then unscythed.
Yeah.
Like that.
You got a man hitting grass with a stick. Yeah.
Yes.
Explain that.
You've got a flipped wagon, a fully flipped wagon.
How could a wagon flip over while travelling on a pitted farm road? Just couldn't happen.
You've got a cow swallowing a train.
That's pretty outlandish. Yeah.
You've got.
Imagine the
noises.
markup on trains. If you're travelling on a train, you're trying to eat a train. It's going to be so expensive.
That's a good bit of satire.
Yeah, a bit of
actually.
satire.
That's a good bit of satire.
Because the sandwiches are very expensive.
The workman's tools getting messed with. Come on, noises.
We even heard a
We
thud.
even heard a
We
noise.
even heard a mystery thud.
Confused furniture.
That's pretty good.
Come on.
I think it's high, but I obviously made a mistake by starting at 3 last time, so I'm going to come in at 1 and then work my way up. Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 3?
For the record, probably yeah.
There was a very confidently muttered probably, which I think
Yeah, probably yeah.
I think some people who might have been going 5 are going to bring it down now.
Yeah.
This is why we don't do democracy like this. This is why we have secret ballots, so that we're not shamed into voting for lower scores. How do I think democracy works? Is it 4? Is it 5?
Yes.
That's a strong 5.
Killed
Wow.
all the fish.
This is not a rotten borough. Are you opening a sweet there? Yeah. No, I thought it was a problem on the recording, and then I remembered I'm here. I'm not listening. No, go ahead. If you opened it.
Hope you brought enough
Well,
for
I can't.
everyone.
No, we can't have you with a half-open sweet for the rest of the. Open it quickly. Just get it open. Open it. Open it. Open it. Open it. It's open. It's done. It's in his mouth. Nice work.
My third category is olden times smart speaker.
Like a non-proprietary version of Alexa.
Yes, an Alexa or one of them googly ones.
Yes.
Yes.
What are they
very
called?
In our house, we call them we call them what the words are that wakes them up. So I can't refer to them. They're a bit like that one from.
Do you mean because if you play this, it'll wake it up?
It'll wake up everyone's one. A bit
Right.
like a screaming skull. So that's kind of earning points,
Oh,
right?
Alexa, phone the police. I'm being killed.
Alexa, flip that wagon. Save that cow. Pull the chain. You'll probably be able to do that actually. At some point in the future, you'll have
will.
blooming Alexas flushing your toilet.
Yeah. You'll have to get out of the toilet, walk to the room the Alexa's in, and say, "Flush the toilet." So convenient.
Isn't it? And there's the sort of burglar alarm aspect. It would also it would wake up the farmers so they didn't have to set an alarm or anything. It would like tap on the window like time for work. It would fully bridle horses if they had to go out in the horses.
Would it?
They'd wake up and the horses would be fully
You
bridled.
didn't
I
mention
forgot
that
to
when we did
mention that.
Supernatural. Wow.
Yeah.
A skull fully bridling a horse.
Yeah. Killed a load of fish.
Alexa, kill those fish.
Some reservoirs. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to throw it to the assembled rabble. Who thinks it's 1? Who thinks it's 2? 3? And
Probably, yeah. That was uncanny.
4? 5? Oh, it's a strong. The people who went 3 look like fools.
And, as ever, I haven't got another category, so we're going to have to source one.
Oh, okay.
Crowdsource, should we do a category? Anyone got a category for us? What are you thinking? Just horses and stuff?
Some reservoir?
Some fish.
Is that a category? Can you have that as a category?
I think I won't get a 5 for it, but I'd go with
What
it.
about catchphrases as a category? Because that kind of works.
No, because I'll go skulls. Everyone's got one, and then they're just going to give me one.
That's a really. Let's still do that though. 'cause that's quite
let's
good.
do it. Yeah. Okay, final category, skulls. Everyone's got one.
Didn't,
I didn't give them a chance to do it.
that's, just back me up here. Is that what we agreed was going to happen, or did we say we were going to do catchphrases and then James changed it to one? But it's too late. It's been entered into the ledger now. So, for the benefit of the recording, we were going to do a different category. James has really stepped in it.
Yeah, I've really choked the cow on that one.
So, for the category of skulls, everyone's got one.
This is going to be quite quick.
Who thinks it's 5? Oh, it's actually quite strong.
Everyone's got
Who thinks...
And there's more than 5
okay.
people. Everyone's got one, and there's more than 5 people.
Who thinks it's
End.
4? 3, 2. Don't make me look like a fool here. Who
Don't
thinks
make-
it's...
They're going to make me look like a fool, is the thing now.
Who thinks it's 1? Who thinks it's 5? It's 5 out of 5, James. Because everyone's got one.
Everyone's got one.
And that's
Thank
more
you.
than... Everyone is more than 5 people.
That's
It is,
basic
it is.
maths, everyone. Or math to our American viewers on the live stream.
Hello, Americans.
Sorry, guys. So, it's Halloween. It's time for a trick or treat. So,
Hello, weird lack of surprise there, as if James said that about 10 minutes ago.
What do you like? Would you want a trick or do you want a treat? Everyone shout at once and I'll work out what you say. After 3, so on 0, a sort of unspoken 0. I feel I have to get this out the way.
No, I'm glad
You've got to
you were
set
clear.
the rules. You've got to set the rules. And can you clear that skull off the top step, please? So you're going to shout trick or treat. Oh. Dickey. 3, 2, 1. Trick.
That was mostly voted for trick.
That was
there,
good.
yeah.
That was good. Well, I've got a little trick for you. Thought they were going to say treat. I've misread the room. Not for the first time tonight. Here's a little trick. It's this is how we're going to end the show, and afterwards, thank you. No, not afterwards. And right now, thank you all very much for coming and enjoying and
Thank you.
sharing Halloween with us. Here we go.
Hello, Loremen. 'Tis I. Ow! 'Tis I, Chris Cantrell, Northern correspondent, out here amongst I'm in the fells, sort of in a road, walking the streets. There's some sheep. Basically, I'm out here just having a walk and a think about all things folklore. You know, just thinking about the big questions, like aliens. What's that all about? And why does James sound like a giant? There's a car coming now. Edit this out, James. These people are paid good money. So basically, James came begging for me to do a little video for Loremen Live. He said, can you be there? And I said, absolutely no. My schedule won't permit it, because I'm catching up on Strictly Come Dancing. And also, like, going to London, do you know what I mean? I've not been looking at any research, but I've been thinking about, you know, this is a dark skies area. And an area that Loremen don't really look at too much is, like, extraterrestrials and stuff. And I sort of live near like a mysterious RAF base that there's always explosions coming from it every day, this sort of thing. So that's like spooky, that, isn't it? And what if there was an alien inside the RAF base? Do you know what I mean? Just like weird stuff like that. I don't know whether this is the sort of content that James wanted, but he has to pay for it. His commission. Hiya, morning. Yeah, you're doing the wall. Yeah, it's for a podcast. Yeah, like off menu, but with less charismatic hosts and a format that doesn't really make any sense whatsoever. Yeah, you too. Bye. See over there, there's an old farm. What if I told you that a ghost is there? Ghost with no head and stuff, do you know what I mean? But can an alien abduct a ghost? What if alien ships abducting ghosts and the spaceships run on ghosts? Not so easy to debunk now, is it? Oh, there's an old tree over there. Look at that. Oh, you can't really see it. Do you think that should be a film? I think, for my money, I think that ghosts can travel through sound. For music can be haunted. Right, look at that. Skeleton. James, when you're editing it, zoom in on that skeleton, and can you put above it Bodicea and a question mark? She's a hot baby weighted Romans, FYI, before you look it up when you're in Carter 1995. Quiz control out. Can you fix that in post? Anyway, what's that? It's a man in a white van. It's coming to get me. How do cameras work?
Oh, we spontaneously applaud that. It's not even here.
So yeah, it's not just me that wanders around filming myself for no discernible reason. Chris Cantrell will do it too for money.
You both intuited that a whip pan to sheep is a really good way of ending a scene.
But I think I had more of a vibe with the sheep. I think, I brought the sheep in.
Right.
Kind of alienated the sheep, I fear. So, I mean, this is very much the end.
Thank you very much for coming. Give yourselves a round of applause for coming out.
Thank you very much for our wonderful tech team. You've got Kieran and Kate. Thank you. And thank you to the Bill
Thank you
Murray.
very much.
And thank you, everyone.
People watching on the live stream, thank you.
Bye-bye.